everybody. Welcome to the MLB Live Before Lock show presented by OddsShopper. I'm Eric Lindquist. Excited to talk through this slate here with you. I got just the guy who's going to do that for us too. Matt LaMarca at Matt LaMarca. I love introducing you because it's the same as me. We are smart kids and got our handles once upon a time, and therefore we never have to worry about such things. Go follow him over there. How you doing, my dude?
I'm great. Happy Mother's Day. I'm sure that our 99% male demographic, doesn't need that, but they'll have mothers, right? Everybody has a mother. If you don't love your mother, you're not cool with me in my book.
Let's find out. Let's do this right now. Out of the over 200 people who have already tuned in the first second of this show here, we're going to be taking you all the way up 10 minutes before lock. We're going to have to hit evacuate. We got the NASCAR show, and then I'll be back with EMAC for the NBA Live Before Lock show. So we got a lot going on here on the Awesemo YouTube channel, so be sure to check that out. Jordan Klein's going to be riding sidecar for the entire thing. Best of luck to you, my friend. Best of luck to you. You get to deal with 3 hours of Eric Lindquist. That sounds like punishment to some. Sounds like the greatest day ever to others. That's the way I look at it. But here's what I was getting at. In the live chat, I want all the mothers. If there's a mother in the chat, can we get one? We're going for one. That's what we want. Shout out. Yeah, even Zippy has a mom. Zippy Long Stockings. Yes, it's my mother. She's fantastic. Hi, Lorraine. How are you? Hopefully she's having a safe drive to northern Minnesota here today. But yes, happy Mother's Day to everybody. Would love to see at least one mom. Just give me one in the chat. That's what I ask for. That's it.
You do something for your mom for Mother's Day?
Of course I did. I got her flowers.
Flowers? That's nice. I always go with the edible arrangement. That's my my standard. You can't really beat those chocolate strawberry things.
Yeah. Oh God. So you're like mwah, as far as just like setting the bar too high for the rest of us.
I don't think that's that hard. And you can order it on like Friday and it'll be there on Sunday, which is perfect for me.
Lisa Bourne, there it is. Shout out, mom of two. Lisa Bourne, happy Mother's Day to you. I knew we would get that coming through clutch. Love to see you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Happy Mother's Day to you specifically. Hope you have a fantastic day. But we got some baseball to talk. We got multiple games to get to, 7 of them to be exact. You ready to ride into it, my dude?
Absolutely.
All right. First game on the docket. Milwaukee plus 120 at Atlanta. 8 total runs here in this one in ATL. Aaron Ashby is a guy who was once upon a time supposed to be it for Milwaukee. Now, Milwaukee's built a pretty incredible pitching staff, and he's kind of fallen by the wayside, but he's had a really good start to this season. 25.9% K percentage, 354 expected slugging. The walk rate is concerning. The walk rate has always been concerning for him, around 11.5% for his career. Very limited sample, though. This kid hopefully can take a jump. If he does, I don't know how people deal with this pitching staff in a 3-game, 7-game series type scenario come playoff time. How do you feel about Aaron Ashby in a very tough spot here against Atlanta?
I like him. The Atlanta offense is definitely good. There's no doubt about it. Their StatCast numbers this season are pretty strong, but they do have the 5th highest strikeout rate against left-handed pitchers to start the year. So decent strikeout upside for Ashby. I think he's a good GPP arm.
I definitely think he is too. And I mean, you look at anything that we have the top stacks tool, top pitchers tool. Definitely take advantage of taking a look at some of those here if you have the Awesemo Plus. And we have a great promotion, Luca, going here right now. I'll talk about that here in a second, but $7 will get you a week of Awesemo Plus Platinum, allow you to check out everything that we're referring to in real time. When I look at Ashby, he's way down the top 2 percentage, but there's positive leverage. He's completely unowned purely because of the spot. I'm making 150. I have to have some shares of Aaron Ashby. He's just a really, really good lefty that I think has some upside in any spot, even against Atlanta in a game environment that doesn't feel the most appealing. I also just realized I don't think we've ever done a baseball show together.
Nope.
Oh my God.
No,
I'm so
new. It's a new thing. But yeah, I would much rather go with Ashby than with Chuck Morton, who just kind of looks done at this point.
Freaking Chuck Morton. This is a dodgeball.
I won that tournament.
Fair and square. It's so beautiful. He's so good in that movie. No one makes me bleed my own blood on the floor. Jordan Klein's like, shit, we're 6 minutes in and Eric's
we're
going
off to a
rogue.
good start.
Awesome. Good to know. Let's talk the other side of this one. Charlie Morton going up against Milwaukee. And, Charlie Morton, days of yore, he's a guy that definitely has had a lot of upside. So far this season, though, not much upside. 478 expected slugging, 15.8% K percentage. The walks are up to around 12.3%. Not trending in the right direction. Milwaukee, 3.6 implied run total. And yet I find this team pretty appealing to get to. There's definitely some uniform lefties that I want to get to, the likes of Rowdy Tellez, Christian Yelich, guys of that nature. They're positively leveraged. Charlie Morton, though, how do you feel about him as a pitching option today?
Not a fan. We're projecting him for some ownership, which is kind of surprising to me, just based on how bad he has been this year. You mentioned the strikeout rate. He was a guy that was like a 30% strikeout rate at his best, and he's down to under 16% this season. The walk rate is way up. It's a small sample size, right? We're talking 5 starts, but nothing that we have seen from this guy makes you feel confident that he is on the verge of figuring it out. He's just not getting batters out at this point. So 6.85 ERA, 5.1 xERA. The Brewers offense, it's not a unit that really scares you all that much, but I do think that they have some upside in this matchup, and Charlie Morton, even more than like stacking the Brewers, I just want to avoid Charlie Morton.
I was going to say, we have in the chat, Anthony Childs, good to see him. He's always in shows, checking stuff out, asking good questions. And he brings up that Morton is perfect contrarian GPP play. If he were contrarian, that's kind of the problem with him, is that he's garnering the third most ownership on the slate behind Garrett Cole and Tyler Mahle. And so we'll get to those guys next, because I feel like they're pretty unavoidable. Mahle because of price, Garrett Cole because of upside, and just overall lack of anything outside of Manoah, who is my boy today. But Charlie Morton, I feel as though he's just a little bit overowned for me. And I want to get to some of these Milwaukee bats. And I feel like it's an opportunity to really just stack up Milwaukee in bulk here. It's generally a better hitting environment in Atlanta. It's only 62 degrees there, but we're talking 50 degrees in Baltimore, 50 degrees in New York. You get 57 in Cleveland, 53 in Minnesota. We're not exactly looking at the warmest of game environments. So this is actually above average in that department.
Yeah. And using the top stack tool, Milwaukee does grade out very favorably, the second best leverage rating. You mentioned they have some left-handed batters with pop, Christian Yelich. I'm not sure if Christian Yelich is done or not, but you've got Yelich, Rowdy Tellez, and Charlie Morton's biggest struggles this season have been against left-handed batters. He's got a 491 WOBA allowed to left-handed batters. He's given up 3 homers in just 10 innings pitched. So there's definitely some opportunities to target him with left-handed bats on this team.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think looking through the lineup, I said Tellez is just out of his mind at the moment. And I'm not somebody who talks hot streaks, but I think even in Toronto, there were glimpses. And whenever a player switches teams, approaches can change, things can change in terms of who's in that lineup with you. And him batting clean up there, 4,900 against Morton. If that's going to be completely unowned, give me all of that you got. Yelich, I want that ball to continue to start rising. He's hitting it hard, just needs to get some loft under it, young man. Get the lob wedge out. Let's go. Christian Yelich, 4,800. I think he makes a nice contrarian 1-2 play there with my boy Tellez over on DK.com. Let's talk Atlanta, though. They're the team that's garnering the majority share in terms of the expected run total there, 4.3. You get Acuna back in any lineup, and that's going to become extremely potent. You get Ozuna, Duvall. Demerit has just been revelatory here in the early going for Atlanta, a team that's just kind of looking to replicate a lot of lineup power in terms of Freeman, Soler, guys who have departed. Austin Riley, great third base option. I do think against Ashby, there is definitely some viability to rostering some of them. But how do you feel about Atlanta? Basically flat leverage on them. How do they rank in terms of priority for you on this slate?
Pretty low, just because they're so pricey. I mean, you look, they've got 4 guys at 4,800 or more on DraftKings. I mean, they're all really good players. Ronald Acuna, Matt Olson, Austin Riley, Ozzie Albies, all guys that can do some damage against left-handed pitching. But They're just not a team that I necessarily want to spend that much money on. I think my favorite play with the Braves is Ozuna at 4,300. He is a guy who's just notorious for wearing out left-handed pitching. So he has some appeal to me as a one-off. Same goes for Adam Duvall. I don't hate him at 2,600, batting sixth today. But they're not an offense that I'm looking to stack in this spot.
I got one question, and I'm curious how you approach massive ownership on certain one-offs. We've seen it with Buxton the last few slates. On FanDuel.com, I don't know what they're doing, but Ronald Acuna continues to be sub 4K. He's 3,800, projected for a ton of ownership at the position. When you see somebody who's garnering 35, 40, 45% ownership on a 7-game slate, how do you approach somebody like Acuna?
It's pretty much an automatic fade for me. I mean, this is still baseball, right? Ronald Acuna can be the best player on the planet, which he isn't, but he's really good. He's
Top
still going to
have,
he's still going to have nights where he doesn't have any hits. So it's a volatile sport. You have to embrace the volatility. And, if Acuna has a night like he had the game prior, where he hit a homer and stole a base and racked up 30 fantasy points, I'll lose, but I'm okay with that.
It's just a good talking point, I think, in terms of overall strategy. Again, it's 7 games. We have just less than an hour to go here. Something that's always curious to me is how different people approach it, because I've seen top pros. I spend a lot of time on Lineup Rewind. DraftKings, obviously, the only spot you can really check out. But some pros just take massive overweights. Some just cap at 33 or 35% for their batters and don't really have a regard for which one-offs are the guys who show up. I'm with you. I think that on a site like FanDuel, where I think, especially the outfield, it's not like a specific position where you don't have multiple players that can necessarily be rostered at it. In the outfield, you have 3 on every single team that are starting, sometimes extra positional eligibility for a guy like Brandon Lau or things of that nature, where so many outfielders. Yes, Acuna is by far, I think, the most underpriced guy relative to his talent level on this slate. But it doesn't matter. I think you have to take a massive underweight approach to somebody like this. And if it burns you, it burns you. I apologize ahead of time for the 40 points that Ronald Acuna is bound to rack up now today, but wanted to at least talk about that. I like your other shout outs there, Ozuna being the guy there. Even on FanDuel there, 2,800, Duvall 2,600. Lots of viability to getting to some of them, but looking a little bit, flat leverage. Just be careful on how you handle a one-off like Acuna. That is all I will say about that. Anything else for this game for you, Matt?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Kansas City Royals, 3.8 implied runs at Baltimore. And the new, maybe Pitchers Park, Camden Yards, 3.8 implied runs. I don't know what yuns are. They're not good, though. Zach Greinke, speaking of not good, 6.5% K percentage. I don't know. Maybe I'm just arrogant like this, but something tells me that if I just randomly was given 0-2 counts, I could find a strikeout or two accidentally in the major leagues. 6.5%. It's just a massive fall for a guy that once upon a time had an arm. This is only a slate with 14 starting pitchers on it, though, so people have to be considered. He's got positive leverage. Is that good enough for you to roster the incapable of striking out anybody, Zach Greinke?
I think I will have some exposure at 6K. It's just such a cheap price tag. And it's not like his lack of strikeouts has limited his ability to get outs this season. He's run good. There's no doubt about it. He's got just a 2.37 BABIP, but he's pitched to a 2.57 ERA. So even though he's not striking anybody out, he's not walking anybody. He's keeping the ball in the ballpark. These are things that you like to see. Is there a ton of upside with him? Of course not. But he's 6K and he's facing a Baltimore offense that, is mediocre. I mean, they're certainly not going to be an intimidating presence. So I think you get some exposure to him. And I like Jordan Lyles a little bit as well on the other side.
Baltimore, I would say, against righties has been a little bit above expectation this season. If you told me they had a 102 WRC plus against that handedness, I'd be pretty surprised. But that is apparently the case. 307 WOBA, 137 ISO, middle of the pack. But for the most part, decent enough spot to probably get to a couple shares, considering there's just a number of guys. Like when you play as 6,400 Zach Greinke, you're also kind of hoping that Thompson, Dunning, Peralta, even, and especially Molly. You're just kind of hoping that he doesn't completely get there in a meaningful way, or you're playing like a Molly Greinke and you're just loading up in the bat department. It's just really hard for me to imagine that the likes of Manoah, Cole are going to be complete busts. So it's going to be hard for me to get away from the top of the board to some extent. But I definitely think that there's a case for rostering a little bit of Greinke. Is he somebody that you would consider even on FanDuel, where you do get that bonus for the quality start getting through 6 innings? He's 6K down there. I think he's probably the most intriguing punt if I was trying to do that on FanDuel today.
I will say no on FanDuel, and it's mainly just because you're only using one pitcher. You know, you don't need to get as creative. And the lack of strikeout upside just it's much more of a concern when he's your only pitcher as opposed to your SP2 that you're kind of punting.
All right. That's fair. Well, not fair. Jordan Lyles, a great spot here for the Kansas City offense on the other side. Jordan Lyles never really had the K stuff in the big leagues, 18.8% K percentage for his career, 17.6%. It's actually regressed a little bit. 5.28 expected ERA. It's about where he's been the last 3 seasons of his big league career, giving up hard contact. But again, very limited pitching options that exist here on this slate. He's falling pretty high up the board, and on DraftKings.com, he's 4,900. How do you feel about a pretty volatile spot here for Jordan Lyles?
It really comes down to ownership for me. I mean, we have him right now projected for around 15%. I will probably be in that vicinity. It's a matchup. You know, this Royals offense is one of the worst in the league. Their StatCast data is not good. They're near the bottom of the leaderboard in expected WOBA, expected batting average, expected slugging. So I think that paying 4,900 for Lyles has some appeal if you are looking to go with, you know, an offense that features some heavier bats today. So I think 15% is kind of fair for him. I don't think it's a spot where I'm going to take a stand on him, but I do want to have a bit in my player pool.
Sean V, I was going to say, Schwarber didn't hit a home run. What are you doing in these streets? Sean V must hit eject. Matt LaMarca has no idea what I'm talking about.
No, it's okay.
Sean V in the chat. I didn't see Kyle Schwarber go yard the other night. I don't believe you should be in these places. I think this town's only big enough for the 2 of us, or one of us. That's what I meant. It's math. One of us. But anyway, you've banned yourself from the NBA streets. That makes no damn sense considering it was an MLB thing, but I digress. Yeah, Sean, you know what the rules are. Loco coming in, enforcing the rules. The news god is in the house, everybody. He's just doing work for you guys all the time. Leader, hater. Just time him out for fun. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to time him out for fun constantly. But anyway, I will protect you. Stop it, Jordan Klein. You're just an absolute, not a team player. Let's talk about teams and players. Kansas City. That was a weird segue, but looking at them in the top stacks tool, coming in really popular on this slate, 12.5%. I do think that the one-offs, the likes of Sal Perez, is always in play for me. 5,200 hasn't been as good this season, but has a sample size of going yard a lot. 5 home runs already this season. That's all right by me at the catcher position, but seems like the rest of this team is just really, really popular. How do you handle Kansas City today?
Yeah, I mean, both Kansas City and Baltimore have negative leverage scores in the top stacks tool. The Royals offense, you see the matchup versus Jordan Lyles, and you're thinking, okay, this is a spot where they could potentially do some damage, but they're just not hitting the ball hard. They're not putting the ball, like, they're a terrible offense. So you look at the Vegas total. It's only set at 7.5 runs. It might even be down to 7 runs at this point. I just don't see a lot of offensive upside with either of these teams. So if you're telling me that they are going to garner some ownership, I am fine being out on both sides.
Ryan O'Hearn is not that popular. He's sitting there at 7.6%, but Ryan O'Hearn also is not good at making contact with the baseballs. And when he does generally bad things happen. 228 expected slugging. That ain't it, bro. That ain't it. Skimmer 930 just said he became a big Eric fan. I don't know what I did to distinguish that or to earn your trust, but I'm glad it happened. So I will take it while I can. Edward Olivares is batting first in this lineup here today. 584 expected slugging, limited sample size here still, but that is an intriguing guy to get to. I think he's still going to be a guy that I get to at 2,600 for some savings in those Cole and Manoah lineups. So I will kind of be going that direction. But as a whole, this stack is going to be tough for me to want to get to in any kind of a meaningful way. They're cheap enough. The likes of Garrett Cole in Kansas City is going to be a lineup that's going to be duplicated many, many a time. So good luck getting different in that regard. Let's talk the other side of it, where I think it's kind of intriguing to be getting to some of these Baltimore bats. As I said, 102 WRC plus against right-handed pitching. And Zach Greinke is a guy who's going to give up contact. It's just going to happen. He's not going to be missing bats. And Baltimore's shown some tournament winning upside here of late. There's flat leverage. And at the top of this lineup, there's some power to be had. What are you planning to do with Baltimore?
Yeah, they're not a team that I'm really looking at today. I just, even though Greinke doesn't strike anybody out, he's good at keeping the ball in the ballpark. And you mentioned that Baltimore is not playing like a hitter's park this season. Really, no place is playing like a hitter's park this season, outside of Coors Field, maybe. But it's just not a spot where I think there's enough upside with their offense. They are cheap. I mean, you've got every player on the team outside of Cedric Mullins is 3K or less. So if you are looking for, kind of just a garbage stack, I guess, for lack of a better word, they do fit the bill, but I just don't see the upside against Greinke. If they do put runs on the scoreboard, I think they're going to come with singles and possibly a couple of doubles like that. I don't see them hitting the ball over the fence all that much.
Okay. Ryan Mountcastle is 12%. That's kind of unfortunate. That would be a guy to get to, but the Santander situation, 2,600 on DraftKings, Austin Hayes, 2,900. I think those guys both 5% and under. I'm just fine getting to a little bit of them. Cedric Mullins for sure is starting to get there. We've only got him at 6.8% ownership. I would be surprised against a righty if that was all he came in at, but for sure, something to be paying attention to. Anything else from this game for you, Matt?
I will just going back to the Royals and the Drew Benintendi is somebody that I have in my player pool just because he has been so dominant against right-handed pitching this season. He's kind of the one guy for the Royals that really intrigues me. Olivares as a cheap leadoff hitter. Cheap leadoff hitters are always going to have some appeal, but Benintendi is the guy for me. I think 4K against a right-handed pitcher is a little too cheap.
And promo code Luca is the promo for you. That is you. Hello, audience. Hello, Mother's Day patrons and people in chat. Check out promo code Luca. Get 7 days of Awesemo Plus Platinum. I don't know if your mother would enjoy this gift, but you know what? It can be a gift to yourself. $7 for 7 days of Awesemo Plus Platinum. 77% off our usual weekly price as we're covering a 7-game MLB DFS slate. 7-7-7-7. Good times. Check it out. Not just for MLB, but NBA as well. We have USFL projections. Oh boy, what tough streets those are at the moment. F1 projections. I believe that race is getting going here in Miami very, very soon. Soccer. We have every DFS sport you could possibly want behind the paywall. And $7 gets everything for you for 7 days. Take advantage of that weekly promotion using promo code Luca in the description below here. When you are at checkout, simply plug that in and you are set to go. Stop guessing, start winning. Join us here at Awesemo Plus today. Next game on the board, my friends, Texas Rangers, 2.7 implied runs. And why? Well, Garrett Cole seems to start to, I don't know, he's been rubbing his butt a lot. Have you noticed he's been rubbing his butt a lot?
Yes, and he's got some discoloration on those pants for sure.
Oh, it's fascinating that Major League Baseball will turn their head the other way for certain guys that make bazillion dollars and are supposed to be good at their sport. But I digress. Garrett Cole has started to show some upside. So I think it depends on the umpiring crew. One, is he going to be able to rub his butt? And two, is he going to be capable of generating the swings and misses because of it? I don't know. But he's pretty unavoidable, I think, on this slate. The highest upside arm, the highest projection by a long ways. Yes, he's overowned, but he should be overowned against a Texas team that's going to swing and miss as much as we anticipate them to. What are you planning to do with mega chalk Garrett Cole?
Yeah, I'm not going to have as much as the field will. I think that's pretty reasonable on this slate. I mean, he has an ownership projection right now approaching 60%, over 60%. And Cole's numbers, while they have been great recently, for the year, they're still kind of mediocre. I mean, the strikeout rate is down. The walk rate is up. He's got an xERA of 3.5. And while this Rangers offense hasn't really hit to start the year, they do still have plenty of talented bats in there. And they're also just 23rd in strikeout rate against right-handed pitchers. So I think that you can make a case that Garrett Cole busts, be it for getting ejected or just this offense wakes up a little bit. I think he's somebody that I want to be at closer to 40% on, or even maybe even a touch lower than that.
Texas, 71 WRC plus against right-handed pitching this season. That is second worst in the bigs, behind only Oakland. When you are one run created away from Oakland, you are having a tough beginning of the season. So I think there's some upside and there's some security going to Garrett Cole in a way where, again, if Garrett Cole isn't spinning the baseball, you're going to run into problems. That is no doubt about it. And I think I'm with you where I'm going to be just slightly as in the way that I just ran my lineups here a second ago. I was getting just below the field on Garrett Cole here, sitting around 62%. I'm sitting around 45, and I'm okay with that. I'm going to get different. I said Manoah is going to be my guy primarily today, that I'm just taking a much stronger overweight approach to and hoping for the best, because I don't find it to be a terribly different spot going up against Cleveland. I think Cleveland has some more contact guys at the top that can make the strikeout generation a little bit harder. But I think that that's a really sharp point. Texas only sitting at a 21.3% K percentage against right-handed pitching as well. So works hand in hand where maybe there's some more contact to be had. 7 innings, 5 Ks. I think that would be a really fun scenario for both you and me with our Cole exposure.
Sure.
Yeah. I think that's about the right run of the mill. And I'll take shots with other guys and hopefully get the right stacks, because that has become the name of the game. That's for sure. On the other side of this one, we've got Dayton Dunning, and I feel like I play him more than just about any other cheapie, just because there is some K potential that can be there, 23.4%. This is a very scary spot in a short ballpark against a lot of power, but there's definitely going to still be some strikeouts to be had. Are you crazy enough to roster some Dayton Dunning with me today?
I'll have some. But I will also have plenty of the Yankees. I mean, the Yankees offense, I don't think the Yankees are getting talked about enough, honestly, for how good they have been this year. That offense is just a juggernaut. They lead the league in barrel rate, hard hit rate, average exit velocity, expected WOBA, expected slugging. They are just making elite contact. And frankly, the rest of the league is not even all that close in most of those metrics. So I think there are opportunities to stack the Yankees today, but I also think you can play a little bit of Dayton Dunning at such a cheap price tag, at virtually no ownership. Given the strikeout upside, like you said, I mean, he put it on display in his last start against the Braves, who are another tough offense. He racked up 7 strikeouts, pitched nearly 8 innings. So I think this is a spot where it's okay to have both sides.
Dun, 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 Dunning.
How long were you waiting to do that? Was it right after I started talking, or was it a few seconds?
It was halfway through. I was like, okay. I have an idea. I'm glad. I just want laughs out of you. And also Jordan Klein not even paying attention to me. I got nothing out of Jordan Klein. That's an embarrassment. The likes of which the world has never seen. Get it together. Give me that happy little beautiful smile. Give me that Spider-Man smile, Jordan Klein, please.
Look at him. He's fighting it.
There it is. Let's go. I'm with you. I think Rizzo, you can get to, I mean, how you just play all the Yankees. I mean, even you don't play Marwin Gonzalez, but he's batting 308, no homers, but just no power. 2,400 might end up being a little bit more popular than I want. So now I just talked him into a home run. It's interesting because on DraftKings, you have to pick 3 of the 4 outfielders. Can you rank the outfielders in Judge, Stanton, Hicks, and Gallo for me according to price and your exposure to them today?
Joey Gallo, number 1.
There you go.
I'm hashtag always team Gallo. You know, he'll have a month where he bats 100, and then he'll have a week where he hits 8 homers. So you just got to hashtag trust the process and just keep firing Joey Gallo in there at 3,100. Aaron Hicks for me is number 2.
Yes.
He's 3,100 and he's batting leadoff. You got to love that combination. And then for me, Judge would be number 3. He's clearly the priciest of the bunch, but I like his numbers against right-handers much more than I like Stanton's against right-handers. So I just by process of elimination, Giancarlo is the odd man out.
Okay. I absolutely love it. I got to feel pretty confident that I'm going to be with you in 3,100 Gallo, 3,100 Hicks, going 1-2. I'm going to have a lot of those guys. I think it just makes a lot of sense. And as I said, I'm going to be way over on Dane Dunning. I generally am with Dunning, plus this matchup. God, it's just insane looking at the bright red on Baseball Savant, on Judge, Rizzo, Gallo, Stanton, Torres, LeMahieu starting to crush the baseball. But you get those strikeouts from Gallo, Marwin, Giancarlo Stanton, Judge. So nice to see Marwin Gonzalez, my friend, once upon a time, Houston, Minnesota, multi-utility guy, was always batting second in those lineups. But my God, he is just so bad at hitting. But I like him as a real life baseball player. Just love that he strikes out, and I like seeing him in the lineup. On the other side of this one, Texas, if you're going to target the most popular pitcher on the slate, who are you going to do it with?
Corey Seager is the obvious starting point. The positive side of his splits here against a right-handed pitcher. He's not that expensive at 3,600. I think Marcus Semien also is in play. He's a reverse splits guy, historically righty who hits better against right-handed pitching. Brad Miller, cheap leadoff hitter. He fits the bill. And then probably Nate Lau would be the guy that I finish off my stacks with. Just because, again, he's a guy who's displayed some pop in the past against right-handed pitching. So, and I do think I'll have some Ranger stacks. I mean, if you're going to be underweight on Cole, you should be looking to leverage that a little bit. You don't need a ton of Texas, but just a couple lineups here and there on the off start, I think could pay dividends.
All right. Anything else here?
No, I think that's it.
Garrett Cole, best of luck to us being underweight. That's surely going to go well. Pittsburgh Pirates, 3.8. Not by much, though. I want to throw that little caveat back in there just in case people see, oh, you still played 45% Garrett Cole. Yeah, but I'm still 20% under the field. That's how it's going to work out today. Pittsburgh Pirates, 3.8 implied run total in Cincinnati. Cincinnati won a game. That was exciting. Good for them the other day. Give them a pat on the back. Go get them, slugger. Zach Thompson on the mound here for Pittsburgh. Tyler Mahle, mega chalk as well, because he's underpriced for his talent. I don't think anybody's going to argue with that. So let's just start here with Mahle, because I think he's the more pressing pitching option that we need to discuss. More or less than the field for you for Mahle?
More. I'm sad that he's checking in with such high ownership. I was hoping, his 6+ ERA would kind of scare some people off today, but the field is too sharp. Tyler Mahle is a good pitcher, and his numbers this season are in line with what we've seen from him in the past. If anything, his StatCast data this season is a little bit better than it was last year. I think he's a good pitcher. I think he's going to bounce back. And this Pirates offense obviously is a great matchup. They have the 4th highest strikeout rate against right-handed pitching, at the bottom of the league, essentially, or near the bottom of the league in most hitting categories. So yes, I think it's a good spot for Mahle, even at high ownership.
Yeah. For those keeping track at home, I mean, we're looking at Mahle with the most negative leverage next to Garrett Cole, negative 22%, 42% projected ownership, compared to just a 19.5% top 2 pitcher percentage. I will not be having more than the field. I get why you are 6,700. I think against Pittsburgh, you can always make that case, but Pittsburgh for the season, 95 WRC plus, going up against righties, 25.9% K percentage. That's really the intriguing part of why you want to get to Mahle. Decent strikeout stuff, plus they K at the top 5% against righties in baseball, the Pittsburgh Pirates, that is. So I think that's not the worst situation. But now when push comes to shove, we got to talk about the Cincinnati offense, because Zach Thompson is on the mound here. On the other side, 598 expected slugging, 15.9% K percentage, and walking guys, 6.82 expected ERA, bottom 6% in the league. Not great numbers here from Zach Thompson, 6'7", up there throwing absolutely nothing, low 90s. I feel like Cincinnati, it's disturbing how much interest I have in trying to get to some of these bats. Are you with me?
I'm going the other way. I will have Zach
No.
Thompson in my player pool today. I will.
Oh,
He has been dreadful. There's no doubting that, but he proved last season he can get out, right? He had a 3.24 ERA last year, a 3.68 xERA with the Marlins. So I think this is an interesting buy low spot for him. This Reds offense is awful. They are at the bottom of the league in every metric, XBA, XSlug, XWOBA. This is a team, they're implied for 4.4 runs today and they're favorites, and I think it's kind of ridiculous. What have if you want to tell me that Tyler Mahle is the reason they're favored, that's fine, but they're still implied for 4.5 runs. Like, I cannot support that. Nothing I have seen from this Reds offense makes me want to target them. If anything, I'm going to continue to use pitchers against them.
Oh my. Well, we are on different sides for this one. I mean, one thing, obviously they were in Coors Field. You would expect to have some runs there. Milwaukee, they faced Woodruff, Peralta, Hauser. They've had a really tough kind of start to the schedule. And at home, St. Louis, San Diego, Mackenzie Gore, Nick Martinez aren't exactly anything special, but they got there in a pretty decent way against them. I just don't think, when you look at the ballpark here, it should be something that we just value a little bit higher. 4.4 implied runs. I talked about how nothing's really a good game environment. Even Atlanta is low 60s. So you're not exactly fighting heat and humidity on May 8th today. But in the grand scheme of things, this ballpark is by far the best to be hitting in today. It's the worst pitcher, I think, just in terms of strikeout stuff on the entire slate, besides Greinke, who has some real life ability just in order to get ground balls and get outs. But Zach Thompson's just shown nothing to me, where I think also Cincinnati seems to be a team people shy away from. And I know we have some decent projections going on some of these guys.
Them projected to be the second highest owned offense.
I know, that's what I'm getting at. So I'm skipping Moustakas. I'm going to play a little bit of Stevenson, but like, if I remove Moustakas, who I just have no confidence is anything anymore, 102 ISO, 254, he's just bad. He's bad. He's batting third. He's been batting better, whatever that means, for people keeping track at home. But like, I can get to the back half of this lineup, find pretty low owned pieces, whether it's Colin Moran batting seventh, Kyle Farmer. Oh, that feels awful to say out loud, actually. Maybe I'm going to question that. But TJ Friedel batting leadoff, 2,400. That is just a beautiful, beautiful guy to get to. I think he's like one of the first guys, if not the first guy in for me on cash today. I'd probably play him, or I guess because it's so hard, because I think Hicks and Gallo are so cheap as well. Probably Hicks Friedel would be how I start that out. Again, I'm not playing cash today, so I guess it's a moot point, but I'm with you. I think they do look like they're going a little bit over-owned, but I have to get to a little bit here.
Good luck with that.
Thank you so much. I love rostering the worst team in baseball history. That's what I like to do.
As chalk.
Okay, everything you're saying makes me feel like an absolute donk, but I get it. Again, it's just 4.4 implied run total now in this ballpark. It's just hard for me to get away from when it's Zach Thompson on the mound. I have to have a little bit. I'm not going to completely write them off. It's 7 games. It would not surprise me if Cincinnati put up more runs than people think today. Pittsburgh, let's talk about them. I'm going to definitely have interest in getting against the mega chalk that is Tyler Mahle here. There's definitely some potential there for him, but at the same time that you feel like there's not a whole lot of offense in Pittsburgh, they carry a 7.6% top stack potential, by far the most positively leveraged team to get to. Give me lots of these guys. Who are your favorites from Pittsburgh?
I mean, Dan Vogelbach is always somebody that I like to play. He's up to 5K though. That is a lot for Dan Vogelbach. I think 3,700 for Brian Reynolds is an extremely fair price tag. You've got Ben Gamel, 3,900 as a leadoff hitter. He's coming off of some really strong outings in his last 3 games. And then Yoshi Tsugo, I think, is also viable. He's just 2,800. So you kind of have that decision point. You can only play Yoshi or Vogelbach at first base. One guy's 5K, the other guy's 2,800. I will side with the cheaper player in Tsutsugo, but certainly Vogelbach, we know about his power potential.
Yoshi. I had to get it. I had to get the look.
Obviously.
That was not bad though, right? That sounded like him.
It was pretty good.
Thank you, Jordan Klein. Oddshopper, oddshopper.com. That is where you guys want to head right now. Do you like free bets that can help you win money? If you do, oddshopper.com is the best place to find them in 30 seconds or less in the baseball streets now, in the NBA streets, NHL. Our guy News Guy just racking up a pretty coin or two in the Oddshopper NHL streets. It's so easy to navigate, so fun to play any of the plays that are at the top of the board because you know what? They win. And we are keeping ourselves accountable now here as well with Oddshopper. The NBA bets, you can literally keep track of the expected ROI over the course of the month, over any course of time. It's really fun and easy to be able to keep track of your bets in real time using that resource. So I'm telling you, over a long run, the expected ROI is what we're worried about in those legal betting states. Expected win percentage is what I'm worried about playing on the likes of Prize Picks, Underdog, these other sites where you have prop-based games. But you can basically find on NBA or MLB immediate bets to help you win money immediately. At the top of the board today, expected ROI, Trey Mancini, the over on total home runs, 37% expected ROI, plus 800. That seems like pretty darn good odds to be getting to him. We just talked about Daniel Vogelbach, and my God, definitely give me some of that. 37% expected ROI, plus 600 on the over there against Tyler Male. So I like getting to a lot of those guys. Oh, yeah. Oh, you're in the Gundacker situation where I'm never going to get to do a show with you again because it's too much fun. Too much fun. Everybody smash the like button too while we're at it. But oddshopper.com, that is where you want to find the best bets. Anything stick out at the top of the board on oddshopper.com for you, Mr. Matt LaMarca?
Oh, I didn't know I was going to have homework.
Oh, hell yeah, you are. Just give me your dong today. Give me your dong. We'll see if it has an expected ROI that is decent. Give me your dong pick.
My dong pick is going to be for the Milwaukee Brewers. Rowdy Tellez.
Look at that. So we click on Milwaukee. We're able to go to Rowdy Tellez. We're going to see where he is at. Negative 7% expected ROI. Oh, hang on. Actually, no. Hang on. That is on the under of it. Oh, yeah, the over of it still. Plus 475. I love the Rowdy Tellez shout out. I have a lot of him today, but I'm not going to be able to bet that one. But that's the beauty of Oddshoppers. We're able to find instantly whether or not that makes sense as a good bet or not, whether or not there's value to be had. So just want to throw it out there. Rowdy Tellez, phenomenal call by you, but not going to be for betting purposes at plus 475. We are worried about the value there. I've talked about Trey Mancini. I think he made some sense, but even his teammate Ryan Mountcastle might be a guy I'd play a little bit of here. Shout out to Blitz the other day for absolutely crushing that call. Double dong season for Mr. Ryan Mountcastle. Always fun to see somebody in the chat call those out. So check out Oddshopper. Great resource, not just for NBA, not just for NHL, golf, but MLB as well, of course. Thank you so much to them for existing and for all the guys behind the scenes here at Awesemo. Alex Baker, Steve Buzzer, Eddie Lai, everybody, Sean Zahn, who are putting together great information out for free on oddshopper.com. All right, let's keep it moving, my friend. We've got 3 games to cover. We've got 25 minutes left in our lovely show. I wish we could go on forever, but we can't. So Toronto Blue Jays, 4.4 at Cleveland Guardians, 3.1 implied total for them because Alek Manoah, my boy, the absolute unit that is Alek Manoah on the mound here for the Toronto Blue Jays. I think he is your obvious pivot. I mean, he's $100 more than Garrett Cole. That's probably wrong. You are wrong, sir. But that lowers the ownership. Alek Manoah has been the better pitcher overall this season. 1.45 ERA, 0.84 whip. Ks are decent enough too. How do you feel about him against this Guardians team?
Yeah, sign me up. I mean, the one thing that you don't like is that Cleveland has really prioritized putting the ball in play. They have the second lowest strikeout rate against right-handed pitchers this season. That's not good for fantasy purposes, but I do think Manoah is talented enough to overcome that. He's returned value in every start this season. I don't see why this would change. Maybe a little bit less strikeout upside than Cole, but I think considering the ownership, certainly I'm prioritizing him. I think I will have pretty equal exposure to both players.
Corey Randall with the $10 super chat. Eric, don't feel bad. For what it's worth, I'm rolling with Cincy today too. Just have a feeling. I have a feeling that tonight's going to be a good night. That tonight's going to be a good night. That tonight's going to be a good night.
Feel it.
Ooh. Back to analysis, because somebody said we just need to talk analysis, but also
true. It's good. It's a good point.
Matt LaMarca is the captain now. That is you. Let's keep going here. Toronto on the other side of it. Mr. Pilkington, Connor Pilkington on the mound. Sounds like he could maybe get to 60 or 70 pitches. That's like an outside possibility for this guy who went back down to AAA. He has not given a run up at the big league level this season, but that was in relief duty, 15, 25, and 33 pitches. He got up to, 59 pitches in his last big league or his last AAA start, maybe 65, 70 on the table here. If that's the case, he's a flat 4K. I prefer Lyles. I prefer getting to Dunning. That's for sure. But in the outside chance that you were to go Cole and him or Manoah and him just to stack upon bats, is a flat 4K Mr. Pilkington in play for you?
Hard pass.
Cool. Good talk.
I don't understand why Toronto isn't considered like the chalk offense today.
Because it's a bullpen situation for the most part, and people hate those.
Well, I like grabbing one of the most potent offenses in the league at positive leverage.
Oh, so I'm with you.
I'm in on that. If you look, I know that the Blue Jays, there's been some talk about them being overrated, and the bottom half of their lineup certainly isn't that imposing, but they're still second in the league in hard hit rate. They are second in the league in average exit velocity. This offense can do damage. They have tons and tons of right-handed bats in their lineup. They will at least be starting the game against the left-hander in Pilkington. Give me all of the Blue Jays.
How did you clip that so fast, Jordan Klein? What's wrong with you? Why do you have to make fun of me at freaking 10:03 a.m.? What did I do to you, Spider-Man?
It comes from a place of love, Eric.
Is it my fault that you asked Matt LaMarca for a dong?
I did ask him for a dong. Hell yeah, bro. Let's go. Ride or die. It's my dude. It's my dude over here. Oh man, we've got Gundacker in the chat too. It's a great time to be alive. Hit the like button for Loco, who's trolling me. I love him. For Gundacker, who's not trolling, who just loves us. Hit the like button for those two goats. Appreciate you guys. Back to the analysis. Yeah, I'm with you. Give me this Toronto offense, top stack. I feel like Toronto's a team that just goes underlooked constantly, especially when there's expensive pitching that people are jamming, like Garrett Cole. Alek Manoah is still garnering a little bit of attention, not as much as he should, in my opinion, but definitely there to try to get some of these Toronto bats. I feel like Vlad Guerrero is a cheat code, so we can always play him. Anybody else that's specifically sticking out to you?
Well, I mean, Teoscar always has smoked left-handed pitching, and he's only 4,300. I think he is my favorite of the Blue Jay bats today. And then Matt Chapman at 4,800, like nobody's going to play him at that price tag because it's a terrible price tag. But Matt Chapman is another guy who has always been much better against left-handers than right-handers. I know it's a bullpen game, but at least his first at bat is going to come against the lefty. So, he's got that going for him.
Which
Big hitter,
nice.
the llama.
What?
We get to the end of the round.
Llama. It sounded like you're doing Shaggy.
No. That was my Bill Murray from Caddyshack.
Oh, there it is.
Big hitter, the llama. So he's stiff.
Big hitter, the llama. There it is. Yeah, no, I found it. I found what you were doing there. It's on the par 5. Miles Straw, Stephen Kwan, Jose Ramirez, pretty much the only guy I'd want to get to against Manoah. This is probably the team I have the least amount of interest aside from any one-off potential of Jose Ramirez. What are you doing with Cleveland, if anything?
I have no Cleveland. I mean, 6,300 for J Ram. I know the guy is a stud, but I can't pay 6,300 for him against Manoah.
The reason you do it is nobody's doing it.
I suppose.
That's all. I have nothing else to add to that analysis because I'm with you. It's just not a good spot. Let's keep it rolling. We've got 2 games to go to. We'll kind of recap our favorite stacks, favorite pitchers. We'll build out some lineups quick. we're going to turn it over to the NASCAR show then after us. Looking forward to that one. Our boy, Chris Pennell, he's so grown up in the MLB streets here as well. Going to be excited to check that one out. And then I'll be back with EMAC. I'll be doing the analyst side of NBA Live Before Lock. Excited to talk through a crazy little two-gamer. I'm pretty excited about today. Going to be a great night in the association. Methinks it will. Let's talk Minnesota. My parents just left Minneapolis, said it was raining pretty profusely. That's really all I got for you because I think this game is still going to play based on what I'm looking at. If it's a late start, you're probably still okay because at some point they're going to have to go out there and play baseball. But thank God they didn't put Buxton out in this miserable weather. Put him in bubble wrap. I was going to be so upset if we put him out there today. I'm just happy that they're putting him on ice today instead of on rain. That would be good. But we've got the Minnesota Twins going up against the Athletics. 3 implied total for Athletics, 4 for Minnesota. Neither pitcher all that intriguing, but this is the best pitching environment on the slate. The wind is blowing in really, really hard out of right field, 15 to 20 mile an hour gusts. We're looking at rain. We're looking at it being cold. Does that vault either pitcher into consideration for you today in Jeffries and Paddock?
Yeah, Paddock is somebody that I just never play. People still kind of remember that excellent rookie season, but he's not pitching deep into games, and he doesn't have nearly enough strikeout upside for my liking at 8,400. So I'll still pass on him, but if you wanted to maybe sprinkle a little Dalton Jeffries at 6,500, I think that's a bit more viable. Again, not a good strikeout pitcher, but you take Buxton out of this Twins lineup and it does look a little bit more pedestrian. So I still don't have him as like a priority value pitcher. I think there are better options, including my guy, Zach Thompson. But if you wanted to play a little bit of D-Jeff, I think it's okay.
Oh boy. Yeah. Dalton Jeffrey, 6,500. Once again, I think that there's just some consideration we have to have for some of these bottom end guys to fit into lineups. Like I'm going to have some Pilkington. I know we made fun of that, but I'm going to have some 4K Pilkington in a way where maybe you're not. 35.9% top 2 value percentage. We've got Ashby. We've talked about him. I think all of these guys that are garnering zero attention at the bottom of the board have to be considered. But then Paddock is the guy that's very, very difficult for me to overlook on this slate. He's flat leverage. He's being owned around 22% of the time. And this Oakland A's lineup, I brought it up earlier, 70 WRC plus against right-handed pitching. Sure, Paddock, the K's aren't really there, but this weather is unavoidably incredible against a trash. And I do mean trash lineup. Sure, Ramon Laureano, good to see your existence again. Making his debut today in maybe the worst weather of all time. That's cool, but his 80-game suspension has been removed now. He's back in the lineup leading off. That might be the only guy that I get to from the Oakland side. But are you with me where Paddock is just a very, very intriguing DFS option today?
Yeah, I guess so. And the A's do have the highest strikeout rate in the league against right-handed pitching. So I guess you have to give Paddock a little bit of a bump from an upside perspective. I do think he's overpriced at 8,400, but there's not a lot of pitchers in that price range. Like if I'm being asked to choose between Paddock at 84 or Morton at 82, I will spend the extra $200 on Paddock. You're muted.
Damn it. So who typed the question mark on the teleprompter? It's fine. Whatever. I said it before. Ramon Laureano, the only guy that I would remotely consider playing, I think, against our friend, our Lord and Savior, Chris Paddock. That's not true. I mean, this pitching staff is pitching over its head right now, but I'm loving it. Anything stick out to you from Oakland you want to get to? And once again, brutal hitting environment.
Yeah, no. And I'm not even considering Ramon Laureano.
Okay. I just, it's just a guy that it's nice to see him back in the program, and he's going to be 3%. I'll just have a couple shares for shits and giggles. That's for sure. Minnesota side. I would normally have a lot of interest in trying to go up against Jeffries here in this spot with Minnesota, but this game environment cannot be emphasized enough how crappy the weather is in that ballpark. When it blows in from right, when it comes in over the Kirby puck at gate 34 entrance, there is no chance that you can hit it out to right. It is really, really hard for those lefties to be able to pull the ball and have it be effective. Kepler can still get it out of there.
I was going to say, so does that mean I'm a donkey if I still play Max Kepler?
No, you can have some Max Kepler. I said
Okay.
I had to specifically throw the caveat out there for him in this spot because, I think he's an all right roster, not anything that's super intriguing. But if you think that we're going to get Nick Gordon pulling it out there, best of luck to everybody involved. Anything stick out to you for Minnesota?
Just Max. I love Max Kepler. He is hitting the ball well again this season. I think he's a good hitter in general. He's 3,600 and he's batting leadoff. Sign me up.
Yeah, and on FanDuel.com, 7,600. Is that correct for Chris Paddock? Oh boy, I might have a little bit more than I was expecting of that. Again, nothing like building your lineups live on a show. This is really well done by me. But I wanted to prep NBA and MLB and the run sheets. They take more than a minute or two. I'll say that, but enjoyable to put everything together for you guys. Try to give you the best information we possibly can. This game overall for me is going to be more pitching than I would have expected, and then I'll have some Kepler, Ramon, Laureano one-offs. So, anything else for you whatsoever?
Nope. I think that's a good wrap up.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up literally, and not the dongs. Detroit Tigers. See what I did there? That was a wrap. Whatever. 3.4 implied run total going up against the Houston Astros. 4.6 implied runs there for that. Jordan Klein, I got to smile. I saw it. Don't try to hide it from me. Wiley Peralta, 29.4% K percentage. What year is it? What planet am I on right now where that's a thing that he's done in the early going of this season? But I guess it's true. That's what's happened. 29.4% K percentage, 316 expected slugging. Is this just Wiley Peralta pitching over his head, or is he going to be the Wiley Coyote where he blows up this slate?
Yeah, I mean, it's all come out of the bullpen. We're talking 8.1 innings, 6 appearances. So being asked to start the game now, I still wouldn't expect him to go very deep.
No.
It's a spot where maybe he can limit the Astros again, but it might be for the first 6 batters of the game. So I have no interest. You can't play Wiley Peralta at 5,600, especially in this spot. The Astros offense, though, projected to be by far the highest owned on the slate. I'm not necessarily rushing to play them. I think that just in general in MLB DFS, you want to be underweight on whatever that top offense is. And today that looks like the Astros.
Yeah, you get a Detroit bullpen that is confirmed not good. Wiley Peralta, not going to pitch very far. Nice to see him succeeding in like a bullpen role because, again, 14.4% K percentage last season as a 32-year-old starter. That sure wasn't it, but looking decent enough in this early going here through, 2 innings, 3 innings that he'll get through. He's 0% on the top 2 pitcher percentage. That's just showing you he's not going to be a guy who's viable today whatsoever. But I'm with you where I think Houston is a team that's just going way overowned according to the top stacks tool. And according to logic, when you get a bullpen scenario, not nearly as great, even if it is the Detroit bullpen, that's for sure. 18.1% ownership share. Back half of the lineup, we're missing a couple of guys here, the normal boppers. We've got Yuli Gurriel on the shelf here today. You get Kyle Tucker batting 5th, my boy. So that's always intriguing. But him and Yordan Alvarez over 20%, along with Jose Altuve in this lineup. It's really hard to imagine wanting to get to anywhere near the field on them. I'll have some pieces, but not any kind of a priority. Anything else you want to add to Houston?
No. I would say Michael Brantley would be my favorite of their hitters just because he's kind of the cheapest of their main core. That's near the top of the lineup. But again, I'm going to be underweight on all of these guys.
What is it about Michael Brantley that just never feels like a high upside option, though?
Because he doesn't hit a lot of homers.
There you go. That might be the reason. And I know he's our Chris Pinnell's favorite player on planet Earth. So shout out to him on the NASCAR show coming up in 15 minutes here. We've got 10 minutes left here in our show, but let's round out with talking about Jake Odorizzi, the fly ball man himself, the mysterious Jake Odorizzi, who's now put up back-to-back 22 plus fantasy point outings, starting to really induce some ground balls. In addition, he had 9 ground balls last time out against Seattle. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw that. That has to be just some kind of a crazy outlier, right?
Probably, but I think this is another really good spot for him, right? You look at this Tigers offense, they have the 4th worst WRC plus against right-handers. They have the 10th worst strikeout rate. They're near the bottom of the board in all the StatCast stats and all the expected metrics. So I think that Odorizzi at 7,600 is a pretty smart play today.
Oh boy. Here we go. Yeah, I'm with whoever just said in the chat here that Odorizzi's a fraud. Michael Roundtree, yes. It's hard to be a fraud, though, when nobody thinks you're good already. Yeah. And he's got a career 22.2% K percentage. Like, you have to be a fraud. You have to be considered good and then actually suck. We're going to have that John Morant conversation on a different day. But 13.2% K percentage, 4.09 expected ERA. Joe Odorizzi, I have no issue whatsoever if you want to get to some shares against the Detroit offense. To say that they would be like borderline competent is kind of insulting. 76 WRC plus, 24.8% K percentage that you alluded to. But the big one for me, 0.89 ISO, 0.089 ISO. That is flat out tied with Texas for worst in the bigs against right-handed pitching. Yummy.
Yeah, you got that yummy, yummy, yum. That's it.
Dun. 8 minutes to go here. Any Detroit bat you would want to get to, though?
No.
Derek Hill leading off doesn't seem fun.
No, not really.
No, it doesn't seem fun.
We have enough cheap leadoff guys today.
We do.
I don't think we need to go there.
Yeah, I was just being a little sarcastic here. Robbie Grossman, right on. He can be that guy. Well, switch hitter, but you know what I mean. Just fine getting to a little Javier Baez if you want to throw him in the mix, but he's around 15%. If you want to stack them up, you could get Torkelson. Eventually, he's going to be good, right? Eventually.
Yeah, I mean, it would help if he wasn't batting 7th. You know, like it's hard to go with the 1 to 7 stack.
Yeah, but you got Big Hoss in the 8 hole.
Yeah, I'm not playing a 4K catcher who bats 8th. It's, I think that's pretty good process most days.
All right. Well, my God, 7 games, 7 minutes left to go. $7 promo code with Luca, 77% off. All the 7s just showing up in our lives at the same time. Promo code Luca. Use that at checkout. Get those 7 free days of Awesemo Plus Platinum for just $7. I wanted to bring that up one more time. Seemed important for the people to see because this promotion is phenomenal. I can't think of a better way to try out the tools we have. 7 straight days. Take you back to next Sabbath here next week. Keep it holy. Do so by signing up for Awesemo Plus today. Oh, man. Read game on fleek. Let's go. Let's kind of recap for the people who might just be tuning in now, who are putting their lineups together with 17 minutes until lock. We're taking off, though, in 7 minutes. Give me your favorite pitchers on this slate in terms of ownership. Who are you the most exposed to? Top 3 pitchers on the board on DraftKings and FanDuel.
So it's going to be Garrett Cole, Alek Manoah, and Tyler Mahle. There's really not a lot of leverage with those picks. Those are the 3 guys that I have the most of, though. The pitcher that I'm going to be the most overweight on, I believe to be Zach Thompson today.
Okay. I'm going to be the most overweight by far on Chris Paddock. I'm going to have tons of Chris Paddock against Oakland. This weather sounds so brutal. And if they're going to play baseball, if we're not going to get any Minnesota Twins game delayed kind of scenario, we're going to get to a lot of him. Plus, 8,400, I can always pivot down to some guys. It's always easier to leave money on the table in the case that wind, weather, and stuff shows up. You have Jake Odorizzi that you could land on if you absolutely had to. And that 11:10 my time, what would that be? 2:10 p.m. Eastern time game time for Minnesota and Oakland, and Houston, Detroit. They start at the same time. So at least have that pivot in mind if anything happens in the weather front. But let's talk what people really want to know here, and that is stacks. Who are the 3 teams that you are stacking up the most on today's slate, Matt?
Toronto Blue Jays, number 1. Milwaukee Brewers, number 2. And the New York Yankees, number 3.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. I am going, let me pull it up. Oh, no. Toronto 1, Cincinnati 2, Yankees 3. Oh man, nothing like how many games has Cincinnati won this season? Is it like 4?
That would be 4, sir. They are
4?
4-23.
That's bad. Oh, why not stack them up in bulk, Eric? What a great idea. Whatever. I believe it. I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. We can't talk about that anymore. He's a bad person. Let's do position by position, shall we?
Okay.
Catcher position, highest owned on DraftKings.com. Go.
That would be, I don't really have an overwhelming amount of any one catcher. Jason Castro, I guess, just because he's cheap at 3,600.
Tyler Stevenson for me. Once again, I think it should make sense that I have a lot of him if I'm stacking up Cincinnati. Plus, as a one-off, he fits into a lot of lineups. Shout out to Alejandro Kirk, though. Big boy can swing a bat once in a while, so I like Alejandro Kirk to get a little bit nasty there in Cleveland. Give me some of that. First base, go.
Vlad and Rowdy Bombs.
Vlad is by far my favorite first baseman to get to. And how do we not get to Rizzo? Rizzo season, 5,100. Just that's underpriced right now for a dude with a 344 ISO, huh?
Pretty tasty.
Yummy. Is that onion? Do you have onion? You knew what that was from.
Guy, Eric.
I don't think Chad knew what that was from. We'll find out very quickly. I love that you know. I also love that Jordan Klein isn't there, so there's nothing that, no matter what, I'm staying in this 2-shot. That's what we got. That's what we got going. We got. Second base, go.
DJ LeMahieu at 4,200.
Jorge Polanco is not okay. That's an oopsie on my part. I have to fix something. I have Brandon Drury a lot batting second, Cincinnati.
Yeah, those Reds, baby.
Yeah. Doesn't look Drewish. Spaceballs. Third base, please.
Third base, I have Matt Chapman. I have LeMahieu again. Third base is kind of gross. It's really a lot of those two guys for me.
This is the worst third base season I can ever remember in baseball history. In the 15, 20 years I've played year-long MLB DFS or MLB fantasy, would you agree with that?
Yeah, for sure.
It is horrendous. Emphasis on, well, I can't make that joke. Let's go to shortstop. You knew what I was going to do. To shortstop, my friend.
I was picking up what you were putting down, my friend.
Oh, yeah. Hulk smash.
I will say, as far as like cheap guys, I do have a bit of a Ledmus Diaz at 2,700, batting just a smidge higher than usual, with Yuli Gurriel out of the lineup. But for me, this is Willy Adames as part of my Brewers stacks. This is Bo Bichette as part of my Blue Jay stacks.
Yeah, Bo Bichette makes a lot of sense. I have a lot of Ledmus Diaz 2,700, but so does the field. I'm gonna have to take that down a little bit because he's up to 19% now. That is too high for Daddy over here. Let's round it out with the outfield position as we get out of here and turn things over to NASCAR. Favorite outfielders on today's slate.
Joey Gallo. Joey Gallo's dead. I said Joey Gallo.
Oh, to the gallows. To the gallows.
Joey Gallo, 3,100. You know what? I'm changing my homer pick to Joey Gallo. He goes yard today.
Oh, baby. Tell me, just whisper sweet nothings in my ear because Joey Gallo was always going to be one of my highest one-offs along with Aaron Hicks. Aaron Hicks batting leadoff there for the old Yankees. I actually have to cheer for the Pinstripes today. That doesn't feel good. And Edward Olivares leading off there. KC going up against Baltimore. Shout out one KC bat that I'm happy to get to. But this will be the one time in life when I have to cheer against Kyle Tucker and Yordan Alvarez. Generally, my two highest one-offs going back to 1994. Feel like I roster them in bulk every single time.
All their little league games.
All their little oh, dude, you just sit there with dollar bills back and forth, with the parents as you're drinking gin out of the bottle, living the life. I'm looking into my future.
Different lives, Eric.
Kyle Tucker, he batted 658 that season in single A 12 to 13-year-old ball. That's for sure. Absolute monster. Guys, this was an absolute blast. Hope you enjoyed the show as well. We have 10 minutes before lock. So get those lineups in, but we're turning it over to NASCAR. I'll be back on the NBA Live Before Lock show starting up here in just over an hour. Any final words for the people, Matt LaMarca?
Of course, happy Mother's Day to our one mother in chat, and make sure to tell your mom that you love her today.
I love you, Mom. That's for sure. Jordan Klein, I love you too. Have a great day. He's going to be hanging out here all day long. He's excited. He's Matt LaMarca, METS, Mets. I'm Eric. We'll see you.